Number 10. The phantom phone vibration. You know the feeling. You're just minding your own business, maybe scrolling through social media, or perhaps attempting to concentrate on something important, when suddenly, buzz, buzz, your phone vibrates. You instinctively reach for it, yank it out of your pocket or off the desk, only to discover nothing. No message, no call, not even a rogue notification from that weird app you downloaded last year. It was all in your head. Again, this isn't some rare technological glitch or a personal delusion. It's a globally recognized phenomenon, affectionately known as phantom vibration syndrome. And while it feels incredibly modern, a bizarre side effect of our hyper-connected lives, it's actually your ancient brain, still performing a deeply ingrained ritual of hypervigilance, just repurposed for the digital age. Think about it. For millennia, our ancestors relied on subtle sensory cues to survive. Was that a rustle in the bushes? A twig snapping? A change in the wind? Their brains were exquisitely tuned to detect potential threats or opportunities in their environment, constantly scanning for anything out of the ordinary. This primal alert system was crucial for spotting predators, finding food, or noticing shifts in the weather. Fast forward to today, and your brain is still wired for that same constant vigilance. Only now, instead of scanning for saber-toothed tigers, it's scanning for dopamine hits from your smartphone. The phone becomes an extension of your body, and your brain anticipates those digital rewards so intensely that it can misinterpret benign sensory input, like your clothing shifting, or a muscle twitch, as the vibration it so eagerly expects. It's a classic case of your brain creating a signal where there is none, simply because it's primed to receive one. Basically, your ancient, overprotective brain is still yelling, "Something's coming. Could be food, could be danger, better check." Just now it's about a text from your mom. Number 9. The Post-it note ritual. Your desk is a war zone of sticky notes. Your fridge is plastered with them. Your computer screen is practically a mosaic of yellow, pink, and neon green squares. You jot down reminders for everything. Buy milk, call dentist, don't forget to breathe. Yet, paradoxically, half the time you write the note, you immediately forget about it, only to stumble upon it days later, long after the task was relevant. Why do we engage in this seemingly futile ritual of externalizing our memory, knowing full well it often fails? It's not just about organization. It's your brain performing an ancient, deeply comforting, but often inefficient, cognitive offload. Humans have always used external tools to augment their memory. From carving notches in sticks to knotting ropes, creating cuneiform tablets, or scribbling on papyrus, our brains have instinctively sought to offload information that felt too complex, too fleeting, or too important to reliably store internally. This allowed our ancestors to free up precious mental RAM for more immediate survival tasks, like outsmarting a woolly mammoth. The Post-it note ritual is simply the modern manifestation of this deep-seated need to make tangible what is intangible. The act of writing itself, even if you never look at the note again, gives your brain a sense of completion, a false comfort that the information is handled. It tricks your brain into thinking it no longer needs to actively remember, which is precisely why you forget it. You're not just writing a reminder. You're performing a mental incantation to temporarily banish a thought from your active working memory. Basically, your brain is treating every piece of paper like a magical scroll that, once written, banishes the troublesome thought to the land of someone else's problem. Number 8. Ritualistic self-soothing, nail-biting, and hair-twirling. You're stressed. Maybe you're on a tight deadline, stuck in traffic, or just watching a truly cringeworthy reality show. And before you even realize it, your fingers are at your mouth, gnawing away at your nails. Or perhaps you're unconsciously twirling a strand of hair around your finger, pulling at it, creating tiny knots. These aren't just nervous habits. They're incredibly common ritualistic self-soothing behaviors, echoes of ancient strategies your brain developed to cope with overwhelm and anxiety. Long before fidget spinners or meditation apps, early humans dealt with stress. Whether it was the stress of a hunt, a tribal conflict, or simply the gnawing uncertainty of survival, their nervous systems needed an outlet. Repetitive, tactile actions provided a reliable, accessible way to calm down. Think about infants. They suck their thumbs, mouth objects, or stroke soft blankets. These actions stimulate nerve endings and release soothing neurotransmitters. As adults, when faced with stressors, our brains often regress to these primal, comforting actions. Nail biting, hair twirling, foot tapping, lip chewing. These aren't conscious choices born of boredom. They are automatic, often subconscious attempts by your body to regulate its emotional state. They create a tiny, predictable rhythm or sensation that distracts from the internal turmoil and provides a momentary sense of control in an otherwise uncontrollable situation. It's your deep-seated mammalian wiring trying to soothe itself back to a state of calm. Basically, your nervous system is throwing a tiny, repetitive tantrum in an attempt to convince itself everything is fine. Number 7. The sudden urge to organize. Your house looks like a bomb went off. There are clothes on the floor, dishes in the sink, and a suspicious-looking pile of mail threatening to achieve sentience in the corner. You've been living in this glorious chaos for days, maybe weeks. Then, out of nowhere, usually right before a massive deadline or a truly important task, you're hit with an irresistible, almost primal urge to clean. Not just tidy up, but to meticulously sort your sock drawer, alphabetize your spice rack, or color-code your bookshelf. This isn't just procrastination in disguise. It's your brain instinctively reverting to an ancient hardwired ritual for managing stress and reclaiming a sense of control. For our ancestors, a messy environment wasn't just unsightly. It could be deadly. Disorganization meant missed threats, inefficient resource gathering, or confusion within the tribe. Order, predictability, and a clear understanding of one's surroundings were critical for survival. When faced with an external threat or overwhelming challenge, your brain often feels a loss of control. To compensate, it latches onto something it can control, its immediate environment. The act of organizing even trivial tasks provides a tangible sense of accomplishment and mastery, tricking your brain into feeling like it's regaining agency. It's a coping mechanism, a mini ritual to restore psychological balance when your internal world feels chaotic. The paradox is that it often distracts you from the actual stressor, but the temporary calm it provides is a powerful, ancient reward. Basically, your brain is a highly evolved control freak, and when life gets messy, it demands that you clean up your sock drawer immediately. Number 6. The comfort of repetitive routines. Think about your morning coffee ritual. The exact same mug, the specific way you load the machine, the precise amount of sugar, or lack thereof. Or how you always sit in the same spot on the couch, or take the exact same route to work, even when a faster alternative exists. Deviate from these patterns, and your brain throws a silent tantrum. You might feel off-kilter, irritable, or subtly anxious. These aren't just habits. They're your brain performing ritualistic routines, ancient programming designed to conserve energy and reduce cognitive load in a chaotic world. In prehistoric times, establishing predictable routines was vital. Knowing when and where to hunt, how to prepare food, or which path was safe to travel allowed our ancestors to operate on autopilot, freeing up precious mental resources for unexpected dangers or opportunities. Your brain is inherently lazy, in the most efficient way possible. It loves predictability because it means it doesn't have to expend energy making new decisions. When you establish a routine, your brain creates efficient neural pathways, turning complex sequences of actions into automatic behaviors. This frees up your conscious mind to worry about, well, everything else. Any deviation from these ingrained patterns forces your brain to re-engage, to consciously process new information. And that feels effortful and slightly threatening. It's why change, even positive change, can be unsettling. Your brain interprets the disruption of routine as an unknown, and the unknown triggers a subtle alarm. Basically, your brain is an ancient administrator, always trying to streamline operations, and any deviation from the SOP is met with an internal audit. Number 5, the need to tell stories. You're at a party, or maybe just chatting with a friend, and you find yourself launching into a lengthy anecdote about that one time you saw a squirrel wearing a tiny hat, or the bizarre encounter you had at the grocery store. We are compulsively, inherently, almost pathologically drawn to telling stories, to creating narratives out of the mess of everyday events. It's not just about entertainment. It's your brain engaging in one of humanity's oldest and most profound rituals, the construction of meaning and the transmission of knowledge. From the earliest campfire tales of hunts and heroes to today's binge-worthy Netflix series and viral TikTok sagas, storytelling is fundamental to the human experience. Why? Because our ancient brains are wired for narrative. Stories provide structure to a chaotic world, allowing us to understand cause and effect, predict outcomes, and learn from the experiences of others without having to suffer them ourselves. They are how we make sense of our past, define our present, and prepare for our future. When you tell a story, your brain is not just recounting facts. It's engaging in a complex cognitive process of selecting, organizing, and framing information into a coherent, memorable sequence. It's how we teach, how we bond, and how we reinforce cultural norms. This ritualistic sharing of narratives helped our ancestors transmit survival skills, warn about dangers, and build social cohesion within their tribes. Basically, your brain isn't just a fact storage unit, it's a perpetually active narrative engine, constantly turning raw data into blockbuster movies starring you. Number 4, the tendency to anthropomorphize. You know you do it. Your Wi-Fi router is being stubborn. Your car hates you. That houseplant in the corner is judging your life choices. And don't even get me started on pets. Your cat isn't just hungry, she's plotting your demise with a dramatic flourish. This pervasive human tendency to attribute human qualities, emotions, or intentions to non-human entities is called anthropomorphism, and it's a deeply ingrained cognitive quirk that speaks volumes about how your ancient brain makes sense of the world. For early humans, understanding the intentions of others, whether a rival tribe member, a potential mate, or a lurking predator, was a matter of survival. Your brain evolved to be a highly sophisticated mind reader, constantly trying to infer the internal states of other sentient beings. This hyperactive social cognition was incredibly useful for navigating complex social dynamics and predicting threats. The problem is, this system is so powerful and so automatic that it often extends beyond its intended purpose. When faced with uncertainty, or when trying to understand complex non-human systems, your brain falls back on its most familiar framework, human-like motivation. It's easier, faster, and more comforting to imagine your faulty toaster is deliberately sabotaging your breakfast than to try and understand its intricate electrical circuits. This ancient ritual of assigning human agency helps us cope with the unpredictable, make sense of the unknown, and even form emotional bonds with inanimate objects. Basically, your brain is a method actor, constantly projecting human traits onto anything that moves or doesn't move quite right. The obsession with patterns, apophenia. You see faces in clouds. You hear hidden messages in backward recordings. Thanks, satanic panic of the 80s. You spot intricate conspiracies connecting seemingly unrelated events. You're convinced that sequence of numbers on a license plate is a sign from the universe. This powerful, sometimes unnerving human drive to find meaningful patterns or connections in random or meaningless data is known as apophenia. And it's a bedrock function of your brain that, for our ancestors, meant the difference between life and death. Imagine an early human surveying a dense forest. Was that rustle in the leaves just the wind, or was it a predator? Was that faint track a random mark, or a sign of game? Your brain evolved to be an incredibly efficient pattern recognition machine. Over-interpreting a pattern, seeing a tiger in the shadows when it was just a bush, led to false alarms. But under-interpreting a pattern, missing the real tiger, led to becoming dinner. So your brain is biased towards seeing patterns, even when they're not truly there. It's a survival mechanism. Better to be safe than sorry. In the modern world, without immediate threats looming, this overactive pattern seeking leads us down rabbit holes of conspiracy theories, makes us believe in lucky charms, and fuels urban legends. It explains why we see shapes in toast, hear voices in static, and constantly look for deeper meaning in coincidences. Basically, your brain is an overzealous detective, constantly connecting dots, even if those dots were drawn by a toddler with a crayon. Number 2, the need for closure. You're trying to go to sleep, but your brain won't shut up. It keeps replaying that awkward conversation from earlier, or nagging you about that unfinished email you need to send tomorrow. Once you actually finish the conversation or send the email, poof, the mental torment largely vanishes. This irritating tendency for your brain to obsessively remember and replay unfinished tasks or unresolved situations, much more than completed ones, is known as the Zeigarnik effect. It's your brain's ancient built-in task manager, perpetually demanding completion. For our ancestors, leaving tasks incomplete could have severe consequences. An unfinished shelter, a forgotten weapon, or an unextinguished fire could be disastrous. Your brain developed a powerful mechanism to ensure that important tasks were brought to fruition. When you start something, your brain creates a kind of tension system around it. This tension keeps the task in your active memory, making it far more salient than anything you've already completed. It's a psychological push to get things done, a persistent internal reminder that screams, "Hey, you left something open, go back and close it." This is why cliffhangers are so effective in TV shows, and why open loops in conversations stick with you. Your brain fundamentally dislikes unresolved issues. It craves closure, and until it gets it, it will keep nudging you, replaying the scenario, and drawing your attention back to the unfulfilled action. Basically, your brain is a relentless project manager, and it's not going home until every single item on the to-do list is checked off. Number 1. The power of superstition, illusory correlation. You avoid stepping on cracks. You knock on wood. You wear your lucky socks for important events, convinced they somehow influence the outcome. You might even perform a specific, nonsensical ritual before a big test or game, believing it increases your chances of success. These seemingly irrational behaviors, the ones you might secretly scoff at, but still do just in case, are manifestations of your brain's deep-seated, ancient tendency towards superstition. It's not just a quaint cultural leftover, it's a powerful cognitive bias known as illusory correlation, and it was once a vital, if flawed, survival tool. For our distant ancestors, understanding cause and effect was paramount. Why did the crops fail? Why did the prey disappear? Why did the storm hit right after that weird noise? In a world without scientific understanding, your brain was a pattern-seeking supercomputer, desperate to find connections and predictability in a chaotic environment. If two distinct events occurred around the same time, even if they were completely unrelated, your brain was quick to assume a causal link. I did a funny dance, and then the rain came. Therefore, the dance caused the rain. This false association, or illusory correlation, was reinforced if the desired outcome occasionally followed the ritual. It's an example of operant conditioning, where a random act is inadvertently rewarded, leading your brain to believe the act itself was effective. It gave a sense of control over the uncontrollable, a comforting illusion of agency in the face of immense uncertainty. While harmless for lucky socks, this ancient wiring can lead to serious errors in judgment in the modern world, making us believe in unfounded connections between vaccines and autism, or particular foods and toxins. Basically, your brain is a chaotic scientist, constantly running experiments and drawing conclusions, even if its methodology is questionable and its results are pure coincidence.